Oh hey, welcome to another episode of The Break Room. Today, we're at the Capital One Cafe in Santa Monica, and we're talking to content creators. In the world of content creation, money talks, but there's a veil of gatekeeping and secrecy. Join us as we peel back the layers and dive into the realities of being a digital trailblazer.
Hi, I'm Sid. I am 35 years old. I live here in Los Angeles. And you might know me as the guy that says, here's something I didn't know before I was in my 30s.
Hi, I'm Christen. I'm 33 years old. I live in Los Angeles. I'm a content creator. I do content on career and job and breaking into tech. And I'm also the founder of Clara for Creators, which is a Glassdoor for content creators.
Hi, I'm Hannah Williams. I'm 27 years old. I live outside Washington, D.C., and I'm a content creator. And if you don't mind, as a full-time content creator, I'll also be sitting on this panel. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How did you become a content creator, and what were you doing prior?
I had worked with content creators like most of my career, but I felt like pre-pandemic, I felt like it was almost gatekept. Like a lot of people that I knew that were successful creators, they had been doing it for like 10 years and they had been bloggers. And it wasn't until I started working at TikTok that I realized that like anyone could become a creator, and the way discoverability was changing a lot for people. Mm-hmm. So while I was working there, I was working with creators, and I was like, I'm gonna make content just so I can better understand, the product. And
yeah, that makes sense.
You were working at TikTok?
Yeah.
What were you doing at TikTok?
I was working with creators.
Oh,
It was
cool.
like creator growth strategy.
Oh,
cool.
dope.
Basically.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was working with like really big creators, and I was like, I don't know how they're gonna take me seriously when I don't myself create content. So
Yeah.
I started putting content out there on I did trends, I did random things, and then what I realized is that my content of working in tech did really well. So I just started to focus on that, and then I ended up getting one video that like got 10 million views.
What was it about?
It was a day in my life working at Instagram. So I worked at
I love
Instagram
those.
prior.
I love the day in the life.
Yeah.
I was probably one of those views.
Yeah, and so I was just showing the campus and everything, and then I grew 150,000 followers from that video, and then that's when I really just decided to pursue it.
That's cool. So you were at Instagram when you posted the video?
I was at TikTok, but I made it about my previous
Got it.
previous job.
And was it the similar setup, like coffee wherever you want
Yep.
or whatever? Yeah.
The
Exactly.
perks and
Yeah,
stuff.
the perks and stuff.
Love
yeah.
that.
I mean, that's really cool that you went from growth strategist to creator.
Yeah.
I feel like I know that if I were to work at TikTok or Instagram, something like that, that's exactly what I would have done too, because like you're inside the beast, so why not
Exactly.
use that to your advantage?
And I was
Yeah.
working with creators and creators like you guys who every day you would see all these success stories, and you're like, why wouldn't I create content?
I started out as a content creator in 2020.
Ooh,
So
hot year.
that was kind of like when I was posting literally every day and like really going for it. I didn't really have a voice either. I kind of knew that like information was key just because it's the internet. So like, what do people like? They like information. And I had seen some other life hack people create content like Party Shirt or, those kind of things. And yeah, I mean, I was posting every day from 2019 till, I guess like this past summer or whatever. And before that, I was always in content, like social media marketing, social media channel manager, all that stuff. And like, I've always wanted to do this since high school. So it was like when TikTok finally like broke, it was really, really amazing. And it's just like all of the things that I did in the YouTube space and all the
TikTok
content
was
stuff.
probably beautiful for you.
TikTok really just felt like old school YouTube. And I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. Like just post every day and something will happen. Because that's how it happened with YouTube, and that's exactly what happened. So then I found this life hack thing, and here we are. And it was just, truly, it's like incredible. It's so much fun. Yeah. It's hard, but it's fun.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. So I'm probably the only one here who didn't have a background in content or like worked in content. So I used to work for the government. I was a government contractor. I used to be a senior data analyst. That was what I was doing before I quit. And I actually became a content creator from that in a different way. I found out I was underpaid. And so like from there, I started making content on my personal TikTok account, talking about how I negotiated, how I got my jobs, pay transparency. And the number one videos that were really hitting were pay transparency, like how much I made in each role I had. And I did not ever want to be a content creator. I'm the type of person that like my personal Instagram is still like empty to this day. Like I'm sure a lot of my old friends are like, her, a content creator? And I just had this idea. I was like, this bad thing happened to me. I was underpaid because no one talks about money and I had no idea how much I was worth. So maybe I should just ask people on the street and see what happens. And really starting that project was just a way to try to bring awareness to transparency. I didn't see it as a long-term thing or something I'd be doing 2 years later. But within like a week, our videos went mega viral. Like one video on the page, 6 million views.
Wow.
And you know,
What year was that?
that was 2021.
Wow.
April 2022.
Wow.
I started on April 16th, 2022. And having a personal account that averaged like 50,000 views, having back-to-back videos on a brand new page go viral one after the other, I was like, if I can't make this a business, then I'm stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like there's something there.
I feel like I saw that too when you first started
Probably
popping
did.
off. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, this is so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you're just like going up and asking people how much they make. That's insane.
And it worked out pretty well for me. So that's what I was doing before. I quit my job like 3 weeks after I started that channel, and
Wow,
I've been doing
really?
this ever since.
What's your number one tip to getting started as a content creator? Oh man.
My tip is just to do it. I think everyone is looking for the right answer and the perfect equipment and the perfect topic. I'm pretty sure all of us here, the first topic we posted is not the reason that we have our platforms. But if we hadn't posted that first topic, which brought an idea for the next topic and snowball effect, we wouldn't have the platform. You just have to start.
TikTok, fantastic just because it allows you to become the meme basically, and I think that's
Yeah.
really why TikTok took off. It was like, we'll just give you everything.
My goal is to be a meme.
Yeah, you just become the meme and you just post it. It's funny, haha, right? The first videos I did for every single day, I posted the same sound, and it was kind of like a vlog. And it was, this is a video for everyone who's not TikTok famous, so if you are, keep scrolling. What the fuck are we doing wrong? And that was it. That's what I did. I just did every single day, I just did that. And I knew that like if I just did that, I would garner like 1 follower equals 2 followers, 2 followers equals 4, and it was sort of like snowball.
Yeah.
And I think like if the goal is to sort of like have a sustained audience, then yeah, just like post random things.
And consistently.
Yeah, and like the biggest things that content creators always say is like, because we get this all the time, is like, oh, how do you become a success, right? And it's like everyone always says consistency and just doing it.
Just do it.
Yeah. But it's also, I think, important to like not think of a niche, because I think niches really like scare you into not doing something.
Yeah.
So I think like if you can use your time to find your niche while building an audience, I think that's probably a big one for me, because like I didn't know, but life hacks would be my niche.
Yeah.
Or information, education, whatever people say it is this week, but yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say like echoing what you said, I feel like getting over the fear of like what other people think or being embarrassed. Like a lot of times I'll talk to people, even my own sister, who like is scared what her high school friends are gonna think about her. And I try to remind her, like, once you start seeing money come in, once you are able to like quit your job, you're not gonna be concerned what random people from your high school think about you. Yeah. A lot of avenues of content creation, whether it's starting a new page, like you have to get over the fear of being embarrassed. Like I remember when I decided to try to convert my TikTok followers to Instagram followers, I was so embarrassed to start a new page with 0 followers.
Oh wow, you did?
I did.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did like a dedicated page.
That is scary.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like so embarrassed, and then within a month I grew like 25K, which is like,
There you go.
you know, isn't huge, but I was like, if I would have never started,
I mean, absolutely.
it's really just getting over that fear.
To go off that point, like my account that I post on now, I was a personal account for however long, like 10 years or whatever. And then when I finally was just like, listen, this is not for my family. Who am I posting for? Nobody. 5 people that I see every single day. And then I finally just started posting content, doing all this stuff. And then it was like, oh, that's a lot of followers and like views and revenue and stuff. And I was just like, great. So my mother-in-law would walk in and be like, wow, you really don't know a lot of things in your 30s. And I was like, I know, but it's like not for you. It's for
not for you.
everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really funny. And then like some of my aunts would just be like, wow, Sid, still don't know this, huh? Like, it's like, guys, like, this is not for you.
It's not for you. Yeah.
So I think
That's a
that
good
for sure,
point.
yeah, it's like just getting over that fact of like, you're not consuming content, you're creating content.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it, is like, take that away from the equation and you don't have to think about sort of what everyone else thinks of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does a regular day-to-day in your job look like? Whew. Never a regular day.
Yeah. I don't know, one panic attack at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
lunch break, and then another panic attack.
Then a call with a brand.
And then a call with a brand, yeah. I don't know, sorry.
No, that's basically my life. I mean, a regular day-to-day, it looks different every single day, but pretty consistently it's a mix of scripting, producing content, filming the content, editing the content, calls with brands, calls with team members, traveling, and every day it's a new assortment of that. It never looks the same.
Yeah. I think it's also like all of that, meetings, talking with brands. I also think it's like perusing TikTok, and trying to like see what are other people doing, or like what's trending, how can I talk about different things, and making sure like I'm staying up to date with what's happening in my like niche, my area, so that my content feels relevant and like, timely.
I try to exercise too, just because I feel like exercising is an important part of it, and really like sort of owning my time, because I feel like when I was in corporate world for so long, for over 10 years, it was like I didn't own my own time. I think for me, a big part of it is just like, no, I get to do whatever I want. Like I'm not like on a schedule really. I'm not doing anything like that. But then I've realized recently that like, oh, I do need a schedule, because if I don't, then I'm kind of like falling behind.
Yeah.
And yeah, talking to brands, talking to reps or anything like that, and sending emails, making sure brand videos are all good, or if there's any like updates that need to happen and stuff like that. How do you make money as a content creator?
Ooh,
The
hot
big
topic.
question. The big question.
So many different ways.
So many different ways, yeah.
Social media, just like YouTube, TikTok Creator Fund, like ad revenue from videos, just organically.
What's it called, the beta program?
The
now?
beta
Right.
program, yeah. Facebook Reels and Instagram also have the Reels program. And then just brand deals, right?
Yeah. Do you have any courses?
I don't, and I don't have a Patreon either, because I know courses, boot camps, things that you can sell, templates, and then there's the Patreon, which I feel really like uncomfortable personally asking my audience to donate. Of course, like I'll get into that, but like the gross revenue is never the net. But when you see that gross number, I feel uncomfortable asking my audience to help me out on a month-to-month basis. Any other ways that you guys monetize that I didn't mention?
Yeah, I would say like I feel like 80% of my money comes from brand deals, which
Mine's
is
97%. I did the math.
Oh my god.
I need to diversify, I know.
Wow.
Well, which is good and bad, because it can be so unpredictable
Yeah.
when it'll come in, and it can be tough. I also make a lot of money from UGC, user generated content.
Yeah,
So basically,
but you mean like bonuses program and stuff?
I mean like creating content on behalf of brands, but not posting on my channel.
Oh.
Yeah, so that
cool.
they basically get
Yeah.
the rights to the video.
So
and-
technically I do UGC then when I go to an event and I film for them and I give them
Yeah.
the content.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
okay,
interesting.
okay.
I usually feel weird about doing that, because like it's my face, so why are you?
You
Why is
gotta
it
get a good
posting it on my
brand.
channel? Kind of thing.
I
but-
feel you. There's a lot of brands, especially apps, that you actually don't require you, like you don't have to be in it, so you can just do voiceover and kind of like talk through like what the app is.
Wow, cool.
I did it for a golf app recently, and yeah, it's interesting. TikTok actually has a program where you can make money through TikTok doing it for brands. So
My biggest takeaway from the panel is how many different types of revenue streams there are. Like UGC, for example, I didn't know that was a type of content that I could create. Bonuses was great for a minute.
Bonuses were
Yeah. I'm
awesome.
looking
No
at-
wonder they cut that down.
I know, bonuses was
like
great.
Facebook bonuses.
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
So Instagram bonuses is what I'm
Instagram,
thinking about. So like I was making so much, because also I
Yeah.
had like huge viral hits when it was
That's why
first up and
they
off.
cut it so quickly.
I know, and I was like, how much money did I make? Great,
Yeah.
I'll keep posting here.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much. And like brand deals is great. It's just like you have to sort of like get through those
a lot of work.
Q1, Q whatever moments of like, but yeah, it's a lot of work and just back and forth.
how much were you paid in your first job compared to your current job?
It's a good one.
My first corporate job here was like, if I'm thinking like not contractor, not anything like that, it was the $33,000 a year. and I worked there, and I got up to 35 before I left in 2020. I was fired. But that was like $35,000 a year, and it was just like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then my first brand deal, I thought was the most money ever. I got a free bidet, and I got $1,500. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Look at this sweet bidet I got too. My wife was so excited. She was like, finally, we have a bidet. And then I got $4,000 for 4 videos.
Nice.
Which was $16K. And that was the one where I was like, hey, everyone, look what I just did.
Yeah.
This is real money, you guys. Like, they're gonna give me actual currency for this. Now I ask for 20K a video now. I don't know if I get that, but it's like following plus engagement rates, and there's a lot of other things that go into that, but yeah. This past year was actually my best year. I grossed almost $700,000, which is truly incredible. Before that, last year, I grossed about $400,000.
My first job out of college, I was working at like a company called Pop Sugar, which is like a buzz.
Pop Sugar.
Everyone knows Pop Sugar. Yeah, we all remember the internet.
Read those articles.
Yeah.
I was a coordinator, and I got paid $40,000 as well. My first ever brand deal, I remember Poshmark reached out. They offered $500, and I was like, could not believe that they offered me that much.
Yeah.
money. Now I feel like my rate, or what I'll tell brands, is like, so I have around, I think, 360,000 followers on TikTok. So I'll usually say, like, depending on the brand, if I think they have budget, anywhere between like 3,500 to like 5K.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I do feel like I've gotten a lot of like larger deals for like 10, like 20K, where they want a couple
exactly.
videos. So again, I'm like usually flexible, like sometimes because of my like the content I create, I'll get some nonprofits, and so obviously like, you know, I try to kind of think through like the actual budget they have. Last year as a full-time content creator, I made $105,000.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is sometimes I get asked to work with brands that like I know won't perform well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I should charge this much, but like, yeah, I want a free suitcase. So, you know, just trying to think of if I'm going to deliver that value and if they're going to want to work with me again.
Usually I tell people to charge double. So like
Yeah.
so you're saying 3,500, but like, dude, ask for 7. And if they say yes, you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
I would say my biggest takeaway from the panel is that I should be charging more money for my content. Rates is something that's always super tricky, but the more creators talk to each other, the more we understand that we should probably be charging more.
That's what happened with the $4,000 one. And I was like, $4,000? And they're like, yeah, sounds good. It's like, whoa, that's crazy.
What about
Especially,
5?
yeah, exactly. Especially if they're like a mortgage company or
Yeah.
like any sort of fin company, like finance companies. Dude, they just have stupid amounts of money.
My first job ever was at Pizza Hut in
Heck
high
yeah.
school. Yeah, in Colorado. I made like $6 or $7 an hour minimum wage. I worked a ton of minimum wage jobs out of that. But then my first full-time corporate job, I was a telemarketer, cold calling people. I made $40,000 a year, not much. And then before quitting my corporate job, I was making $115K as a senior data analyst, and that was my most recent corporate job. For brand deals, my first brand deal for Salary Transparent Street was the Clio app that roasts you on your financial decisions. And I think they gave me $500 for one video. It was our first brand deal, and I was like, oh my God, I'm rich. Like, I have something. I was so excited. Right now, we charge like $10,000 to $15,000 per video, but it all depends on usage rights, the brand. If they're a bigger brand, I usually increase my rate. And sometimes working with agents has helped me increase the rate as well, because they know what, you know, budget these companies have. But it's pretty lucrative working in content creation. Last year, my business brought in over $1 million gross, but I pay myself an annual salary of $125,000 a year.
You know what's funny? I just realized that one of your videos is the reason I got comfortable with talking about money.
No way.
Yeah, so
That is
I watched
awesome.
one of your videos, and one of the content creators was like, oh, I made $700,000 last year. And he was so proud of himself.
Markel,
Yeah,
probably.
Markel. Exactly. I remember that, watching that video and being
Wow.
like, wow, he's so proud of it. Like, he's not scared. Like, that's crazy. And I think that was such a turning point for me, just to be like, no, like, this is what we should be doing. Like, be proud of yourself. Like, it's okay. I just realized that. I was like, oh my God, that's your street. Yeah,
that
your
makes
videos.
me so happy.
Yeah.
How do you get brand deals and sponsorships, and how do you determine your rates?
I determined my rates by Googling it, and then seeing where I was on the scale of there's like mega.
Yeah, they're like, are
There's
you
like
mega,
nano? There's nano,
macro.
yeah, nano, micro, macro,
I think that those
mid-tier mega celebrity.
My hot take is
Yeah.
that I don't think those rate sheets are correct.
No, I don't think
Because
so
when
either.
I've put myself on that rate sheet, I'm like way overcharging.
Yeah.
But then how I determined my rates was talking to other creators in similar niches and similar following, size, all of that. And I actually found out that I'm wildly undercharging. When I made my video about how much I made and I was like, this is how much I charge for my rates, a bunch of people reached out to me and they're like, we charge 30, we charge 35. And I was like, cool,
Yeah, exactly.
thanks. But
That's
now I
actually-
know.
Someone told me that recently too. I was like, yeah.
You
I
just
charge-
said 20 and I
said
was like,
20.
you should be charging 30.
Exactly, that's what they said. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
How
yeah.
much? You
So
know,
just
I'm like,
talking.
that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I feel like as a creator, you have all these different like tools in your toolkit. Like, yeah, the creator community is like having these almost connections within your niche, right? Because a lot of us are probably getting similar deals,
Yeah.
especially like in mine, where it's like talking about tech and career.
Yeah.
Like, I'll notice me and a bunch of people will get a deal with like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And like these are moments where afterwards I'll be like, hey, how much did you get? And then realize like I could have gotten like 3 times what I asked for. And then also I made an app, Clara for Creators, which is
It's
really
amazing.
Which is so
it's
helpful, by the
phenomenal.
way.
Thank
Truly.
you. But yeah, it's just meant to like a place where creators can anonymously share how
Yeah.
much money that they're making for a TikTok video and what brand they work with and rating the brand, and also just like, again, more transparency I think is needed, especially in creator economy, because
Especially.
it's such a new industry.
Do brands ever get mad at you?
I know in corporate, people have protections to discuss salary. Like most of the contracts we sign as a creator, it says like, do not share anything, keep everything
Yeah, the
confidential.
NDA, all of that. That's a lot of people ask me like, how much did Indeed pay you? And like, I'm the girl about transparency. I wish I could tell you, but my contract stipulates I can't. I can just tell you how much I've made from brand deals.
Yeah.
Is content creation a lifelong career? How do you keep your platform sustainable? What a question to end on. Oh my gosh. Is it a lifelong career? I think so. I think the YouTubers that we're seeing quitting now is like, they're just tired.
Yeah.
They just don't want to anymore. MKHB, Marquez, he was talking about how it's a lot like being an athlete. Like you only get a certain amount of years and either you transfer that success into something else inside of that vein or you keep doing what you're doing. And I think it's not as much of a body struggle breaking down for most professional athletes, but like I think it is a lifelong career, but you have the choice to make it a lifelong career, especially with content creation and the hamster wheel effect. You have to get bigger and better, and unless you're Mr. Beast, which nobody is Mr. Beast, except maybe Jenny Hoyas, but like unless you're that, it's just like I think you need to want to make it a lifelong career.
Yeah.
But if you can transfer it into like a really good salary as the head of memes at Instagram, do that. But like that's a thing, right? Like, and how to make it sustainable. YouTube's very sustainable. AdSense revenue is very sustainable.
Yeah.
Courses are very sustainable. I don't want to do anything else. This is the only thing I want to do. If I go back to 9 to 5, I failed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I could see myself potentially going back to a 9 to 5 one day. Like, I don't think that would be the end of the world, but I don't want to do it anytime soon. Like, I need like
maybe
another,
that's it, yeah.
maybe like 10 years or something. But I think like creating a long-term career out of social media is very difficult, but it's possible. You just have to be flexible. Like, you can't just do the same thing every single day, year after year, and then expect to stay as big as you are. Like, what we're seeing on Salary Transparent Street is there are so many other people now asking people how much they make on the street. So it's harder to have that.
Not as well, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's harder to have that unique, demand, I guess, on the market or hold on the market of content creation. And so, what we're thinking is, how do we diversify? How do we do different things to still stay relevant? So it's constantly like trying to stay relevant, and over time, we'll see how that works out. But I can understand why some creators are done. They don't want to do it
100%.
anymore, because like I'm almost at 2 years and I'm getting a little, sometimes street interviews get really hard and tiring, especially in the winter when it's really cold.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, I definitely think it's something you could do for a long time. And I think whenever I was leaving my corporate job, I was like, I remember thinking like, even if like I have to go back to corporate, like I don't think I'd ever regret trying to bet on myself and building my own brand and like the opportunities that came from that. And looking back after doing this for a couple years, like I definitely don't. I feel like it was the best thing I did. So I think like even if like, you know, maybe it's shorter term for some people, like I think it's not something you're gonna look back and, you know, regret.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really gonna happen. But I think one of the biggest things is really trying to like diversify your income streams and like
that's big.
doing a course or doing like a downloadable product and doing things that can really help you earn passive income, I think is so important, so that you're not trying to put all your eggs in, you know, brand deals and really trying to make it sustainable. And I think that will come if you're thinking of it like a business and trying to own your audience and not just, you know, banking on TikTok followers, because we all know like algorithms can be inconsistent
and the platforms can maybe be gone the next day with TikTok.
Well, that was the big thing that people were talking about, right? Like having the audience and creating for that audience and then having to navigate and change for the algorithms, it feels really bad.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to sort of like own your own audience, if that makes any sense. So like you have the earned audience.
Great point.
Yeah, you have the earned audience that we all have, like our following, but any way you can sort of like transfer that into like any sort of list or email list, text message list, like anything like that. Like the people that you have are dedicated to you, signed up for you, that kind of thing. And I think that is something that I learned recently, where I was like, oh, like that's actually why Facebook bought Instagram, because Instagram had all the accounts.
Yeah.
So they wanted all of that information, right? And like for you to be able to like reach out to 30,000 people directly and be like, hey, I have a blank. Like, what do you think about that? I think that's huge. And I think that's something that's not really talked about as much as a content creator, because we're so focused on that like follower list, engagement rate, like all of that stuff. But TikTok still has that.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want to discourage anyone from becoming a content creator.
Same.
Do it, see how it goes, make it as sustainable as possible, save that money, spend it correctly, don't spend it on big things, make it a lifelong thing if you want to.
Yeah.
And then stop after 10 years, but you have that choice.
My biggest takeaways were that, no surprise, we need to be having conversations about our compensation amongst one another. I learned that I was undercharging, as well as other people on the panel. If you like this episode of The Break Room, make sure you're subscribed to Salary Transparent Street's YouTube and like and comment for more.